We all know the Senate and House agriculture leaders unveiled the long-awaited conference report last week for the 2014 Farm Bill. It's been a long trip getting this far. Every conference committee, of course, has some controversy. But the 2014 Farm Bill, I think it's had more than its fair share of twists and turns, right down to the negotiations on dairy policy and the fleeting hours before we as conferees signed this conference report. It's not like in the old days, the perils of Pauline, but we had the Farm Bill tied to the railroad tracks or about to head over the dairy cliff. Fortunately, we had Chairwoman Stabenow and Ranking Member Cochran and their superb staffs. And I would say I am blessed with also a superb staff. And we end up with a bipartisan, bicameral farm bill that addresses the needs of every region in the country. Senator Stabenow and I were on the phone or emailing about every hour, day and night and weekends from Michigan and Vermont, from overseas, from here, but it worked. Everybody got a chance. Republicans and Democrats alike got a chance to express their views. So now it's time to vote. Pass the bill, send it to the president, but give sorely needed certainty to our farmers and our families, our rural communities. After all, the 2014 Farm Bill saves taxpayers $23 billion. It eliminates duplicative programs. It strengthens the toolbox for conserving our natural resources. It gives some farmers much needed, but long overdue certainty as they make planting decisions. They don't have the luxury that we seem to give ourselves of waiting to the very last second and voting on something. They have to plan months in advance. But also provides relief to struggling families, support for rural communities, investments in a sustainable energy future. Now, is it a perfect bill? Of course not. No farm bill is. And while it includes provisions I would not have preferred, I do believe that it has a lot of provisions that will benefit Vermont and the nation. I wish that the common sense dairy policies that were passed twice by the full Senate, supported by Republicans and Democrats, by the chair and by the ranking members, and also by the House Agriculture Committee, I wish they hadn't been ambushed in the other body at the last hour. As a result, we don't have a market stabilization program, something that was proposed by dairy farmers themselves, and a program that would have protected taxpayers from exorbitant costs. It would have insulated dairy farmers and consumers from volatile, roller-coasting milk prices. But unfortunately, the Speaker of the House and some of the very powerful, huge industry figures from out west did not want it. But we do have, because of the constant work of everybody, and I, again, would praise the chair of our own committee, Senator Stabenow, we have a solution that, while not perfect, will help our small dairy farms to protect themselves from poor economic conditions when milk prices plummet or when feed prices skyrocket, or, as we've sometimes seen, the worst scenario, when both happen at the same time. The final Farm Bill includes changes to lower the cost of the margin protection program for Vermont's small family dairy farms. It will also discourage large dairies from using this program to flood the markets through overproduction of milk, something that wipes out small family farms. But the bill's not just about farmers. It's also a food bill that supports hungry children and struggling families, and it has healthy food initiatives. I'm disappointed the final bill contains any cuts to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. But the conferees, we worked together and we rejected the deepest cuts of the hunger safety net and the most harmful new conditions which were advocated by an extreme majority in the House, both of which would have undermined the very reason we offer food assistance. Their provisions would have slashed nearly $40 billion from nutrition assistance programs. It would have eliminated eligibility for millions of Americans. It would have made it harder for needy, hungry children to receive free school meals. And frankly, Mr. President, I am fed up of hearing members, whether in the House or sometimes members in this body, say, oh, we can't afford to feed these hungry children. They go to school. These are the same members that voted for a blank check to go to an unnecessary war in Iraq, something that's cost us $2 trillion. They did it on a credit card to go to war in Iraq. Feed children in America so they might actually learn when they're at school? Oh, we can't afford that. Come on. Feeding those hungry children is an investment in the future of this great nation. And some of the demeaning and offensive provisions, such as allowing drug testing of beneficiaries and unrealistic work requirements, those were left out. You have somebody who's been a tax-paying, hard-working citizen for decades, and then the factory closes and they're out trying to find more work and they need supplemental nutrition to feed themselves and their family. Are we going to demean them after what they've done for the country up to that point? Of course not. And the legislation, though, promotes food security in low-income communities. It encourages healthy eating through increased access to fruits and vegetables. That's something, an approach that we've done in Vermont for years. It's also one of the reasons, that and the fact that we cover every child from birth to 18 years old for health care. It's one of the reasons Vermont is always listed as either number 1 or number 2 healthiest state in the nation. But the legislation also, and again I compliment the chair on this, it continues the shared responsibility to conserve our working farmland and our natural resources. You lose these natural resources, this farmland, they don't make it anymore. You're not going to get it back. Federally supported crop insurance will ease farmers' exposure when natural disasters strike. They'll keep working lands in production. But meanwhile, enlisting farmers to continue the simple conservation practices that they're already following will ensure the protection of our wetlands and our sensitive lands. In a country as diverse as ours, there's no simple task to produce a farm bill that addresses the need of every region or every industry or every priority. But I'm proud that this is a bill that offers a targeted approach to tackling the needs of each state and agriculture sector, rather than doing the easy way would be a one-size-fits-all, which, when you end up, doesn't fit anybody. The Regional Equity Program guarantees that no state is left out from receiving conservation resources under the Farm Bill. Not only Vermont communities, but rural America everywhere will be strengthened by a broadband development program, energy efficiency initiatives, and water treatment and distribution loans. Vermont's very beautiful Northeast Kingdom, their REAP zone, will continue to be a catalyst for growth and progress, building a resilient rural economy. Organic agriculture is supported through certification cost share and stronger enforcement and crop insurance and funding for organic research, which we should do. It's the fastest growing sector in agriculture. I'm also pleased that many of the harmful provisions from the House Farm Bill were removed during the conference negotiations, including dangerous secrecy provisions, and attacks on critical environmental regulations, and one that was proposed by an extremely conservative Republican would have actually threatened to limit states' rights. What an amazing turn of event. We got rid of that. So, bottom line, the Senate and House have produced a farm bill that at its core is about keeping America strong. And make no mistake, farming is part of our national security. Look at the number of nations in this world that would give anything to be able to feed themselves and have food left over to export. We're more secure as a nation because we can do that. This farm bill will boost the economy, will create jobs, will offer support to the hungry, will conserve our natural resources, it'll improve our energy security, it'll stand up for our country's families. I'm proud to sign the conference report, another farm bill that will support Americans today and into America's future. I look forward to one of my few duties I get to do. After this bill passes, the Speaker will sign it. I will sign it as President pro tem. And I know from what he has said to all of us, the President will then sign it.